Yeah, I remember the ball. It was my fourth birthday present. My favorite birthday present. From that year.
Good, Victor. Do you remember how you lost your yellow ball?
It was at that point that the event in question did come back, and I suddenly got a very real shiver up my spine. Yeah, I remember, I said, staring back at that green glowing eye, peeking out from that ashen hair. My mom took me out with her. We were going to the park, and I dropped the ball. It rolled out into the street. For a moment, I tried to chase after it, but my mother grabbed me. It was actually fortunate that she did, because at that point, a car came blazing through and crushed my little yellow ball.
Yes, Victor. That was the course of events as you experienced it. However, there was another possible end to that course of events. Two destinies, both equally real, created by the decisions made up to that point, the events that piled on top of each other, things that seem to be coincidence, but are they truly that? As there was another very real possibility, one in which your mother was not so attentive, one in which you wandered out into the street in search of your little yellow ball. Can you guess what happened, Victor?
Yeah, creepy doesn't even cover it. At that moment, I didn't know how I felt. I was disturbed in so many ways that I simply could not find words for it. I don't know, but I guess you're going to tell me, aren't you? I replied.
You would have been run over by that passing car, and you would have died right then, right there. So, tell me, Victor, what do you believe fate is? Do you believe it is a standing structure, a sense of predetermination, that everything is meant to go one and only one way, that all things lead to the same conclusion? Or is destiny more complex? It surprises most people to learn that it is more complex than they give it credit. The reason that you are not a streak on a road is because of the threads of destiny, the countless overlapping threads that lead to different events. The tapestry is always trying to predict what comes next, but it can only be so accurate. The lowest it can ever really go is 2. For any critical event in anyone's life, especially their death, there are always a minimum of 2 possible outcomes. One in which you live, and one in which you do not. And part of the tug of war between life and death is deciding which is which. It is for everyone who plays a role, who tugs at the strings, to do their job. My job as a reaper is to simply end it. Should the cords of fate, the strings that decide your destiny, have led you into that road that day, I would not have hesitated to claim you. But I cannot claim to understand all of the threads, what they mean and why, Who tugs at them and for what purpose? There are simply far too many to comprehend for any single entity to grasp. So, beings exist to facilitate control over single threads, just as I control the thread of death for all those whose candles I watch over. So too are there others who bear other threads, threads of love, threads of chance, threads of sadness and pain, countless entities across countless spectrums and realms, all playing chance with the lives of mortals, trying to weave a story that they like. All the while, you living beings try to weave your own story over theirs, constantly coming into conflict with the pattern that they lay for you. This is why it's impossible to read, why the absolute limit on the lowest number of possibilities is 2, why there is always choice, because your choices matter, no matter how elegantly some otherworldly being may try to weave the strings of your destiny. You mortal beings have a tendency to be unpredictable. But when the chances grow low enough, when your death seems next to certain, then we prepare you for that death, that eventuality. We blanket you in our shroud, keep watch for that moment, that instant in time, where the threads have aligned just right. Possibility of your death is almost certain, and when it comes, we act. You, as a reaper, are able to see the shroud. You could even produce one yourself, should you wish it. Should you gain possession of a candle of your own.
What? I replied, suddenly becoming shocked by what he said. What do you mean, possess a candle of my own?
Once again, it's as simple as I explained it. You possess all the powers of a reaper, and thus, as one who possesses the power of a reaper, you, just like I, can claim candles. Once you claim a candle as your own, that person's death falls into the realm of your responsibility. And time comes to claim their existence, to snuff their candle. It will fall to you.
Why in the hell would I want something like that? I don't want to kill anyone.
Whether you want it or not is no matter,
he said as he turned around, beginning to walk forward again.
Power is yours, whether you want it or not. Just like a reaper, you are able to gain strength by claiming the lives of others. Whenever you do so, you will gain power.
What power? From where?
It's very complex, but think of it as overflow. Whenever the strings of fate entwine themselves in order to write one's destiny, there are always multiple possibilities. I've already told you, Victor. The power that we reapers claim is the power of those unfulfilled possibilities. When someone dies and we snuff their flame, there, of course, were other possibilities for how that could have ended, ways they might have lived, perhaps. Strands of fate that were unfulfilled. In the moment that their death becomes solid, that they pass from the mortal state to the cycle. All of the other ulterior options for their destiny fade away. They cease to exist, and as they do, the energy that was required to sew them into fate disperses. And when that occurs, we claim that power, the power of unfulfilled destinies, of unrealized possibility.